Hello and welcome to another Pixel Maven project tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be making these quick and easy cards using just a few products. And you can see you can use up some scraps on this, and it's so simple to make a whole set of these in really less than a half an hour for the entire set. And we'll just be using a few products. So let me run you through those real quick and we'll make the last card for this set. So I'm using the Versified Clair ink in Nocturne. It is a great pigment ink that dries super fast and leaves a great impression. The Sentiments for Everyday stamp set by scrapbook.com. It has lots of sentiments for every day, as it says, and they're a great handwritten font. And the Halftone cover die from altenew. It is an entire 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 die. It will cut out the piece that we need. And then you'll just need a piece of white for your card base, a piece of black for the die, and a scrap of any color for your sentiment. So the first thing is to stamp or to actually die cut this item. And we're just going to set up our sandwich in a little bit of a different way. So I'm going to set up my die first with the cutting edge facing up, and then my piece of black. And actually, I like the way the black looks on the other side. So flip that over, and then our top. I'm doing it this way because I feel like I get a better cut from the die. So I'm going to run this through my Big Shot, which is right next to me here, and you're going to hear some cracking. This will crack a little more than other dies because it is a full-size die. And what I've been doing is I pull this up and I take this piece off because this is cut and you don't need that anymore. But I'm not going to move the rest of this. I check to see if this is cut all the way through. And if it doesn't really feel like it's cut all the way through, I'm just turning it around 180 degrees and running it through my Big Shot again. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's not always even pressure from the Big Shot, and I am running it forward and back. So really it's gone through now 4 times. And I can see that my cuts are much better in here. And I can even test that by trying to pop some of those out and see if they come out easily. If I really feel like I need to, I can run this through one more time, but I think I've got it. Those seem to be coming out. So this is the fun part. This is just a whole bunch of confetti, and it's going to make a huge mess. So let's watch that in action. This is one of those times that you might want to have a die brush, because sometimes these dots, you see how they all get stuck in here? You'll want the die brush to get rid of all the dots from your die, but you may also need them to get them to come from your die cut. Fortunately, these little dots seem to come out pretty well once your die's been cut. Good. And there's just a few left over this time. So the weeding isn't too difficult. Okay, so I've got that all done. So I've got all these all over the place now. This one I'll empty out right over the trash bin. And it does like to leave lots of little strays, so if you want to have a cleaner workspace, you might just need to dust off your area. All right, so I can go ahead and fold up my card base here. And this is going to fit right on here. If you notice that your card base is just a little long, you can cut that off later or do whatever you do to make sure that everything lines up perfect. So sometimes you would say, oh, I want to put a Sizzix or an adhesive sheet of any brand on the back of this first. Yes, you can do that, but I have found that the Tombow works just as easily on this one. And my formula for gluing this up is to just go across a couple of these rows, especially when you get to the ones where they're further apart. There's a little bit more of a lane for you to put the glue on. And I've not had any problems with it seeping through the holes. And as you can see, I have a very light touch with Tombow, and that just comes from practice. All right, so I align it in the corner, and the corner here is the folded corner. Then I bring it down to match it all the way across and all the way down. And it looks like I will have a little bit to trim off, but I'll take care of that later. One other thing that I've been doing is that after I have that nice and glued down, I've just been taking my towel here, of course, a clean towel, and just kind of rubbing on it to get rid of any of those little stray pieces of cardstock out of there. And see, look at how beautiful that is. Quick and simple, right? So you could whip out a whole bunch of those in no time. Okay, so the last sentiment I need to do to complete my set is thank you. And of course, you don't have to use black. I think the black looks super dramatic in the dots. You can mix and match, use up all sorts of scrap that you have on hand. And the size of these strips will vary between, this is 7/8 of an inch, and the smaller ones are 3/4 of an inch. So I have my stamp all ready to go. I love this VersaFine Clear. It really only takes me one coat to get an amazing black impression on here every time. Look at how gorgeous that is. This is like a total worthy investment. Get this. Get it now. All right, and then you just have to wipe off your... The nice thing too about it is that it is a pigment ink, not a solvent ink, so it will clean up with just a regular chamois and some water or stamp cleaner. Nothing special there. And that was enough time, like just that little cleanup was enough time for this to dry. Isn't that amazing? Most pigment inks take forever to dry. Well, VersaFine Clear, not the case. Okay, so I have all these great cards. And I just need to trim this because I went a little too far from the edge. Normally I do it with my trimmer, but it's all the way over there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and throw some glue on that. And I've been doing it so that the words, like this little strip, kind of fits over a whole bunch of the dots. And that works out really well. It helps frame it out without any extra effort. Give that a second to dry. Snip off the inside. And there you go. I have a complete set here. Like I said, it took me just a few minutes to put all of these together. And you've got a whole set that you can use yourself or give as a gift. I hope you enjoyed this project tutorial, and I will see you here again sometime soon. But until then, happy crafting.